The last 3 weeks, I've taken you guys along on my journey chasing and photographing fall color. Today, we're going to be wrapping up our adventure with some good old-fashioned outdoor adventure van life, and we even dip our toes into some small scene photography. Join me as we wrap up our adventure chasing fall in the colorful mountains of Colorado. Honestly, at this point, I was fighting fatigue and burnout. I was approaching 10 days straight on the road shooting and documenting the fall colors. And with the blank blue sky, which we actually took advantage of the night before, I wasn't really feeling motivated to create works of art. So instead of forcing it, I decided to embrace a nice, slow day, enjoying this beautiful weather in nature. Now, after getting a bit of work done, I looked out the window and I noticed that there was a few clouds rolling in. So I grabbed my camera, I stepped out to see what I could create, even with that high, harsh light coming through. Now, as evening approached, I decided to go ahead and go for a little bit of a walk so that I could see if I could capture something later that evening. those bits of clouds really didn't fill the composition like I was hoping it would when they first started showing up. But for me, the big thing that really makes this image work is that car you see coming down the road there on the left side of the frame. I really felt like this tied together the story of the scene. And as I've always told you guys, I'm always looking to tell and capture the story that is being presented to me. Now with dinner wrapped up, I formed a plan to head back towards a spot that I actually started this adventure at so I could do a bit of camping and enjoy the beautiful outdoors. Now before I packed up and headed back on the opposite side of the mountains where that area was, I decided to stay and photograph an iconic scene at sunrise. honestly had to talk myself into going and shooting this scene, and the reason is you can tell that the tree on the left there is not at peak fall color. However, last year when I shot this scene, I shot it not in the correct light. I shot it in the evening light, and so I really wanted to take advantage of the snow-capped Wilson Peak with that beautiful alpine glow illuminating it. After I shot this composition, I headed down towards the barn there and decided to shoot a vertical of the same scene to see what I could come up with, and this is how that turned out. As I was heading back towards the van, I was reminded to always make sure you turn around because you never know what the light is going to be presenting behind you. At this point, it was time to point my attention away from photography and more towards enjoying the great outdoors. So I packed everything up and I drove towards where I wanted to camp that evening. Well, unfortunately, the wind kicked up, so I had to put the awning back up because it was starting to move around. I was going to eat outside underneath the awning. I guess I still could eat outside because the van's kind of giving me some shade, but I decided I'd kind of sit in here. A little easier to talk to you guys because it's not as windy. I don't know how much more photography we're going to get. The weather forecast is looking beautiful in terms of exploring the outdoors, but not looking the best for landscape photographers' perspective. The snow on the mountains is still there, but it's starting to melt. I'm hoping at least some of it stays. For this afternoon, I'm going to do a hike up to some lakes that I'm hoping that some snow is still up there for it. And then we'll see how the evening goes. I might do a sunrise shoot or not, but I'm actually heading out of here tomorrow. Going to go up to Utah to hang with a buddy for a couple days and maybe do a little more photography up there. I also got a chance to talk with another photographer. His name's Ryan Smith. Super awesome guy. Had a really nice conversation with him this morning at the Barns. He was out leading some of his fall color workshops he does, and actually, honestly, he's one of the inspirations for me to be out here at Telluride and Ridgeway and everything, chasing the fall colors. So, but I'm gonna finish eating my breakfast here, and I got some work to do, and that's gonna be it for the rest of the day. Now, this beautiful weather was way too much for me to ignore, so I actually opted to do a hike that was not far from where I was camping. I absolutely love how that light was bringing depth and life to the scene. I didn't really like that log going through the middle part of the frame, but there really wasn't a way for me to compose the scene without including that log, so I just went ahead and made sure to have it more in a balanced position. And after I grabbed this shot, I went ahead and I grabbed a vertical version of the same composition. Now, I spent about 45 minutes working this scene, just trying out different angles, compositions, and waiting for different lighting patterns to come through. Now, unfortunately, I didn't bring my camera with me out there because it was going to be difficult for me to have two different cameras. So the footage I have of this area is a little bit limited. The things I do for a shot, my feet are so cold, but I got a 6-mile hike ahead of me going back down, and I don't want wet shoes. So took the shoes and socks off so I don't have to deal with it. Now, to get the falls framed up in a way that didn't make them look super tiny, I had to cut off the tops of a lot of the pine trees. I don't typically like doing this in my photos, but I felt like it actually worked for this composition as it really immersed you in the scene. I'm curious to hear which one of these compositions though is your favorite. Do you guys like the wider version of it where you can see the tallest peak in the top left of the frame? Or do you like the image where it's more close to the waterfalls and you just see more of a blanket of the mountain in the background? I'm tired. After getting some much needed recovery liquids and grabbing a good night's rest, I opted to grab a couple more images on my way out the next morning. The day before when I drove in here, I saw that the dust of the road, when it kicked up, the light created these light rays. And so I knew I needed to grab that image when I was going out of here. So I grabbed my camera, found the composition I wanted, and kind of camped off on the side of the road until a car passed by. And once that car passed by, I jumped in there and I got to shooting. And this is how that image turned out. Now that's it for today's video, and that's a wrap on this year's series of chasing fall in Colorado. If you guys are new to the channel, then maybe consider hitting the subscribe button down below and also that bell icon to be notified when I post my next video. I create a lot of travel content like this based around my time as a nature photographer and filmmaker. I also do a lot of different camping and outdoor adventure content, including van conversions, which I still owe you guys a few videos on the van build that you've been watching during this whole series. So those will be coming out here very soon. I want to say thank you to all of you who have watched this full series. It means a lot to me for you guys to support this work. Now, if any of these images spoke to you and maybe you're interested in picking up a fine art print of them, I do have those linked down below, as well as other merchandise on my website. So if you guys are looking to support my photography work, this is a great place to do it. I also have a few copies of my 2024 nature photography calendar available. So if you guys want to grab a copy of that, I also have that link down below. That is by far the best way to support my work. And it's also the best value for you because you get a ton of my best images from the previous year. That's it, guys. I will see you in the next adventure.